Hey, Dr. Nellie Kangwa here. Today, what a lovely topic we're going to handle. Someone was telling me, oh, you're just talking to ladies, why not talking to the men? So here we are. Today, we are discussing real men conversations. Yes, real men conversations. So it's going to be a teaching, and so I'll see if I can answer some questions women have concerning this nice species called the man. So for me to do justice to the topic, I always want to consult the author of a lovely book to ensure that I stay on course, because this is where this man comes from. Because it seems like this same man that has confused women, but women like him, I don't know if they love him. This is why they get so confused. So let me begin from where it all started. Okay, so of course we always know that he created, male and female in his image. So the image of God is what made this man, and then the likeness of God, which is the creative nature. So dude has got that some brain, which is the creativity that they actually bring out. But again, when you follow through the author, he says, when he picked up the soil and he made into this man, he breathed into this man, and man became a living soul. So the breath of God is what made the soul of this man. So there's no Tao dude. There is no one who is Tao. Even if they go through some situations and everything, the breath of God, the raw breath of God is what makes this man. So when God finished, making this man, we read through, the author brings, I'm avoiding deliberately to mention the scriptures, just deliberately, but for your sake, let's pick it up from Genesis chapter 2, from verse 15. Okay, so God makes this garden. Okay, when he made this garden, he says, okay, let me bring this man to actually, look after this garden. I'm going to paraphrase a lot of statements that have been put there. But the very first thing that you see, okay, that, you need to understand as a man, and you young lady, before you fall in love with that man, is exactly the position of this man. Well, he doesn't choose to be born into a man. Whatever happened, I think one day somebody exclaimed, it's a boy, it's a boy, it's a boy. And I've always been telling people to say, okay, so after they shout that it's a boy, do you know that without even making a choice, already from the cultural point of view and from God's point of view, there is some leadership that you have to be born with. You've got to show some leadership, whether you like it or not. The fact that they said whatever they saw, whatever your mother saw and shouted, it's a boy, okay? So the shouting of what they saw is beyond what the world is expecting from you as a man. So the first thing that God does to this man is that he places him to be in charge of the garden. And so he brings out what I call the first pillar, because I'm talking about 4 pillars of manhood, 4 things that defines a man. The first one is kingship. A man, naturally, there's kingship that is, that he's born with naturally. There's that kingship that is inside of him for leadership. There's that kingship that is inside of him where he has to be placed as a head of the family. There's that kingship that is inside of him when he marries, he becomes a husband. He's the one who proposes, he's the one who comes with a surname. This is why I've been, ranting, like, dude, don't just bring your surname to the table, because, wow, the girl had a surname still. When you made her, she had a surname. And so, but then she willingly gives up her surname to get yours. So at least bring to the table more than just a surname, because she had a surname. But this is the kingship that is in you as a man. There are so many advantages, that are given to you as a man, when you are just born. There are things like, oh, as a man, you can't do this. It's a woman who has to be in the kitchen, especially if you grow up in the culture like mine. Because as I was growing up among 6 boys, what happened? Let me share a joke, which is up to today, there's a joke even in our house. When we cooked, the chicken, there were pieces that needed to be eaten by a man. That if a man is the one to eat this. So my mom and I, we ended up just having the neck and the ribs. So men had to eat the drumsticks. So unfair. To today, it's a joke in our home, because when we buy just thighs or we buy drumsticks, my kids will be like, so mom, what are you going to eat? Because your pieces are not here. Anyway, it's a joke now. But you find that even culturally, there is a way in which a man gets to have a certain advantage. Now, if you're a king, you need to know, if you are placed in that position as a king, you've got to know actually what is involved and what it is that you're supposed to show out to the people who have called you a king. I'm coming, because I need to talk about this man developing into a husband. For now, let's build this man. So when he's just born, there is kingship. Okay, that is, given to him. He's already a king. So that kingship is within him. And that is a pillar that actually later on, when you follow through this kingship pillar, it brings in something that is very important. I think at this point, let me go into it. Because the moment you actually start bringing other people in your life, especially you start bringing another person called a wife in your life, there is something that you shouldn't be misdefined. And many men have been misdefined because they are called providers, that he is the provider. Well, let me just try to break that word apart. Okay, because when I did some research, I actually realized that a man is not really the provider. I'm going to break down that word. It is provision. Provider is a sub word that is coming from the major word. As a king, you need to provide vision. So as every man, as you're listening to me right now, you need to know from when you've been a child, as you're growing up, you must start tailoring your vision, because the people that are going to walk up into your life, they need to actually follow through your vision. It's a legacy that you have to leave. So you have to swap not only someone's daughter's surname, but you need to bring to the table vision. You provide vision, provision. So it is not really about you buying beef or buying a car, because today's girl can buy her own car. Today's girl can buy her own house. So it is beyond you providing food at home. It is beyond you providing groceries at home, because actually there is a famous Proverbs 31 of a woman who is so powerful that I'm not going to get into right now. So you need to understand vision. Where are you going? At individual basis, before you even get to bring other people in your life, because this particular human being is totally going to look up to you. You've got to bring to the table more than a piece of metal. You need to bring to the table more than just your surname. There is more to this than just meet an eye. Yes, they shouted, you are the boy. You are a boy child. But guess what? It is beyond even your reproductive system. Though that actually defines you, because that same reproductive system can actually destroy your entire life if you don't even know how to channel it properly. I'll be blunt. Yeah, you asked for it, that we need to discuss real main issues. So let's get going. So there has to be vision. Even if it is not properly tailored or you haven't really broken it down properly, you need to start envisioning. I've shared, whenever I've been on stage wearing a different cape, I've always told people to say, do you know, okay, now theologians, please don't argue with me, because I just checked through the Bible. Do you know Jesus did not heal any blind woman? It's not recorded anywhere. Though they were blind women, if Jesus healed them, it's been silent. So why has it been kept silent that there was no blind woman who was healed by Jesus? Jesus healed blind men. So this whole issue about vision for a man is very critical. And I really need to sentence that into every man's brain. You need to open your eyes beyond just you seeing a girl in a short skirt. You need to perceive the reason for your existence, because the moment you align and the moment you provide vision to the family, that is what you pass on. By the time you are swapping the surname to another girl and she begins to bring children here on earth, they carry your name and they carry your seed. So it is imperative that when they are carrying your genes, they are carrying your DNA, they are carrying what it is that is coming from you, because the formula of blood of every child, be it a girl child, be it a boy child, starts with the seed that you release as a man. So when they shouted, it's a boy, yes, there is more to it than just the pronouncement of your reproductive system. There is more life that you need to start introducing, because as you begin to introduce life, it must carry the vision. I'm not going to go into the details to explain vision today, because it's a topic by its own. So it is important for this king, who is going to be the head in this family, who is going to release the seed to continue his legacy, to set himself up. Before you bring another person in your life, this pillar number one must really be well defined. If it's not clear, it's still okay, but at least you must have an idea where you are going as an individual. Because when you bring in a woman, remember, a woman is dangerous. She can bring you up or she can bring you down. That I want to warn you. A woman, if she finds you have, defined yourself properly, she'll anchor, she'll support, even when probably your vision isn't too well defined. If you marry the right one, she'll be able to help you to actually put some, some meat in it. Just like if she comes into a house, she'll make it into a home. That's just a woman for you. But then this thing called provision has confused a lot of people, because a man has been defined by how much he can bring home. Do you know that you can bring so much groceries at home? You can buy that woman a car, but if you lack vision, do you know that same car can cause her to be in an accident? Because if you don't have a vision and where you are going, this woman will be wondering what she has gotten herself into, your behavior, the things that you're doing. You've got no future in your mind. And so she can get so confused that even the very beef that you brought at home, she can't even swallow it. Because she'll be so depressed by your behavior, because you don't have a vision. A vision will drive you into greatness. A vision will cause you to actually starve some gratification. The vision will cause you to subject your body to certain things that you want to jump into because you just got an erection. Because you've got a vision, you will focus more on that vision and what it is that you are going to fulfill. And you will have this sense of, there are so many people that are looking up to me. There are so many people that will be looking up to me. I'm setting a standard. I'm a model for so many lives that are coming after me. I am carrying lives. You carry lives. In what they called you boy child, you carry lives. And that is why you need to really mind. It is not just about you being pronounced boy child, because they called you boy child. That which defined you to be boy child, it is a gun that can shoot and destroy lives. It's also a gun that can be used for protection. Okay, I hope you got what I meant right there. Because whatever it is that makes you to be called a boy child, you need to connect it to your brain. You need to know that it shouldn't mislead your life. The fact that you can look at yourself and you can see that you're a boy child, that should make you become a little more careful, because you have lives. You are carrying lives. You are carrying generations. And if only you can know that there is a mark to just destroy what it is that you've got to bring out here on earth. It was marked up. Kill every boy child and spare the girl. Why do you think such a proclamation was made in the book of Exodus? Why do you think there was that sentence that you need to preserve every girl child but kill the boy? Do you know that up to now, the enemy aims to destroy vision? The enemy aims to destroy you as a boy child, because continuity of legacy, continuity of generation is what happens to you as a boy. If you got this understanding, then you will know that what defines you is not about how many girlfriends you've slept with. It's not about how many girls look up to you and they admire you, and how big your shoulders are, how tall you are, and everything. You will put much emphasis on your leadership skills. You will put much emphasis on how to really tailor your life in the right direction. What will your eulogy read like when you leave that name to that boy child you brought here on earth? When you leave that name to that girl who's growing up, are you expressing and are you showing the real meaning of a male or a man in that girl's eyes? I'll give you an example right there. Growing up in the family where there were only boys, my dad was really a standard. For me, when I hear girls saying men are this, men are that, I didn't see it in my vicinity. I didn't see it when I was growing up. Who I am today and most of what I have managed to achieve, do you know it is because of my dad? My dad was such a figure in my life. He was a standard of measure. He lived up to it. When it came to him providing vision and leading the family the right direction, my dad aimed to bring that standard. And for me, it was the standard measure of who a man must be. Probably because I entertained such, a standard within me, I attracted like-minded, because that is what I knew. Even the way he was actually raising his boy children. Let me give an example. I would get surprised that if a tap is leaking, you've got to call a plumber. Because in my house, where I grew up from, there was nothing like calling a plumber. My dad, we knew, and everybody would be like, oh, when dad knocks off. We knew that when dad knocks off, that tap will stop leaking. We knew that if there's something wrong in the house, something that is, that needs some, physique and all that, when daddy comes, we'll sort this out. So he began to actually put up that, he started painting who a man was. We never saw, I never grew up, seeing, my dad beating my mom, my dad, whatever. I didn't see all that. Do you see how that has actually influenced who I am today? Let me divert a little bit. I want to encourage you as you're listening to me right now. If you've got a girl child, I want you to know you are a standard measure of who a man is in that girl child. You should be the first boyfriend to date your girl child. You should be the one who has to anchor her. Do you know? Yeah, I think I'm diverting. Do you know that most of the men, most of the women who are needy or possessive for their husbands, do you know because they lacked a father figure in their lives? If they don't even sit under mentorship and somebody helps them to actually, grow up to be stable, they've got very frail, emotional, mind, and they are not so strong because a father figure was absent. Do you see that? A father figure was absent until they learn themselves into the place of a mentor to help them stabilize their emotions. This I can tell you because I've been sitting on the other side of the chair most of the times as a marriage coach. When I just interview, when I see a girl who's needy, who cries easily, who looks for love, what? Because some man was absent. Some man was absent. You carry more than being pronounced a boy child. You need to provide vision. Where are you taking yourself? When people start following you, when someone says, that's my husband, I'm Mrs. Kangwa, what is it that they are following? What have you put as, the family mission statement? What values have you created around your life that other people can mimic, other people can model? Are you an inspiration? Provision. So do you see that it's beyond you buying those groceries? Do you see that it is beyond you paying for school fees? It is beyond school fees, because many men think when they pay school fees, then they've provided for their children, then they're available for their children. No. Thank you for the school fees. Thank you for the food. But you are beyond that as a man. Pro-vision. So redefine who you are. You're not just a provider of groceries. There is more to this than meets an eye. There is more to this than you wearing that trousers. There is more to this than your mother pronouncing you boy child. You've got to take responsibility. Do you see? This is the reason why I read again, I think it's in the book of Luke chapter 4. I wondered why this dude was bragging. You know, the devil, Satan. Satan was bragging. He said, oh, everything has been given to me. All authority. He was bragging to Jesus that all authority has been given to me. I said, okay, so who gave this dude authority? Who gave him this authority? Well, I'm a studious. I've got a studious mind. I said the research. I then realized, oh my God, this is where he was given. And so one day, it so happens in Genesis chapter 3, a woman is having a conversation with the snake. Okay, that's just the depiction of, the enemy with the serpentine, spirit or character. And so there is a conversation going on. And the Bible there says, you know what, the snake was, more wiser than the beast of the field. So the snake was not more wiser than the woman. Look at the conversation that is going on here. When this is happening, okay, the woman takes time to analyze. Well, when I take this, fruit, this is going to happen for me. I'm going to get more knowledge, and this is good. And she gets into that analysis. But watch this. There's one statement there that is very stubborn. It says, she gave some to her husband who was with her. Who was with her? Was he really there? When it comes to vision, when the woman is presenting herself before this man, you can tell something isn't right here. Because she goes on to exaggerate. Oh, we were taught not to touch. Really? Is that how information was passed? Though I'll build it on the another pillar about just this same statement. I'll build it on later. But I just want to show when a man is absent, when a man is not there to provide vision, there is a lot of every person having their own way of doing things. There is no order. Remember, I'm addressing a boy child, but I've stretched this boy child into the future. Because whatever it is happening to this boy child, eventually this boy child is going to have a family. This is why, as I'm addressing this boy child, I'm still stretching her into the time that she'll swap his surname, that she'll give another person his surname, that other people, little beings, will carry his surname. That is why I am still stretching this boy child into the future. And so watch this. When this is going on, God comes and says, hey, Adam, what was going on here? What's up? And Adam says, oh no, it's not me. It's this woman you've given me right there. Right there. He gave up his power. He gave up his power. He failed to take responsibility. Responsibility is broken into two words. It's the ability to respond. Ability. Vision, when you have a vision, when something goes wrong, you take responsibility. You have ability to respond to whatever it is that is going on. All this blame shifting, it is because of my dad. He passed on when I was young. It is because of my dad. This happened. Oh, that happened. Come on, take responsibility. Gird the loins of your mind and take responsibility. A man gave that authority to the woman, passed on. He was not accountable. Imagine if the man stared in God's face and said, I'm sorry. I messed up. Give me another chance. Just imagine. I believe things would have turned in a different way. To today, we have a lot of men who are failing to take responsibility. They are always passing the blame. It's you. It's you. It's this other person. It's this other person. Vision will cause you to remain focused. Vision will cause you to stay on course because you have values that are going to govern the way you are going to carry on. And those values will be passed on generation to generation. My dad did this. My dad loves us to do things like this. Let me tell you, you may not even raise your voice in a home. I'm saying this because I've been married for the past 27 years. I'll give you an example. One time, there was a fight. Okay, I don't know if my children will be happy for me to share this. But anyway, I've already started. There was a fight between my oldest son and my youngest son. So my oldest son is, he doesn't like fighting. From childhood, he's always a peacemaker, and all. My youngest boy, he also doesn't like fighting, but I think being, younger, he wanted to really be like his older. So sometimes he would just provoke the older boy. So I would watch this going on. Hey, you did this. Hey, what? And they raise their voices, and the older one would always, yeah, okay. It's like the younger one who get away with it. One day, I can't even remember what happened. Oh my God. My oldest boy squeezed the neck of this younger one. It was a fight. Oh my God. I said everything I did. You have no idea. I went to labor at the second time, trying to bring these two people, just to separate them. Anyway, that fight didn't end. They were both angry. The younger one was blaming the older one. The older one was blaming the younger one. So I called the older one in the bedroom. Listen to this. My husband had traveled. He had gone to some, I don't know, I think I'd gone to Botswana or something. They couldn't just hear me. I tried to raise my voice. You're in this home. Nothing was happening. The boys were rolling like lions in their house. And the younger one was not giving up. So my husband came. Now, let me tell you, this was like magic. My husband came. Wherever he had gone, he came. Do you know? The next moment I'm entering, because I narrated to my husband, there was war of Armageddon in this house. So my husband called the boys. It was 5 minutes is an exaggeration. I think 2 minutes. My husband called the 2 boys. Next thing I'm entering, because I like leaving them. So I don't know, I forgot something. So I'm entering back into the bedroom. I find the younger one and the older one hugging. They're hugging each other. Sorry, dude. And they're greeting all this, man's greeting. And they're, hey, yeah. I'm like, yeah? What magic did he use to silence this war of Armageddon? Let me tell you. When I asked, what did Daddy say? Daddy just said one statement and the 2 of them listened. Without me, I was raising my voice. You have no idea. I was raising my voice. I was like, hey, you guys, you leave my house. Just to scare them. They could not be scared. They were not. Dad did not raise his voice. He just used some, I can't even remember what that was, but it just came as I'm teaching right now. The authority a man carries. He doesn't need to raise his voice. There's just this unique inherent authority. Now imagine that's where provision is packaged. It is in your vision. My husband has a vision on how he wants to raise his boys. There are things that when I look at these young men, the things that they do, I see. My husband has given them an intangible blessing. Integrity flows out of him. And I see my 2 boys, even when it comes to little change, just little change, you shouldn't even worry. My children bring receipt because my husband does that. He doesn't want to play with accounting. Me, I'll be a little, not him. It is vision. And I can see it downloaded into his children. Dude, you need to know the world is waiting to partake of your wisdom. Your children are waiting to partake of your wisdom. Vision is very important. You are a king with a vision. We are getting to the next point.